In the last few hours, an unexpected name has started to circulate behind the scenes, and it may be getting closer to a surprising return. In addition, the Vikings have made another aggressive move in the market, making it clear that they are ready to compete at the highest level of the NFL. What could be coming? Hang in there, we'll tell you everything. But first, sign up for Report Vikings, activate the bell, and leave that like so you don't miss anything about our team. Now let's get to the news. Does Adam Thielen want to return to Vikings in 2025? Unexpected rumor stirs up the fans. It's been nearly 2 years since the Minnesota Vikings made the difficult decision to release Adam Thielen, one of the franchise's most iconic wide receivers. The departure of the player, who spent 10 seasons in Minnesota, was marked by emotional farewells and a feeling of mutual gratitude between the athlete and the fans. Thielen is now with the Carolina Panthers, but a recent rumor has brought back the possibility of a return to the team where he built his career. According to a story shared on SKOR North's Purple Daily Show, the veteran is reportedly looking for a way to return to the Vikings to end his career wearing purple and gold. The simple fact that this possibility was mentioned was enough to stir up fans and raise countless questions. Is there any truth to this rumor? Would the Vikings be willing to bring him back? What would be necessary for this negotiation to happen? Let's analyze all the details. The rumor that put Thielen back on the Vikings' radar, the rumor surfaced during a recent episode of Purple Daily, when an anonymous listener recounted a conversation he had during a sporting event. According to him, an acquaintance close to Thielen revealed that the player has already expressed interest in leaving the Panthers and returning to the Vikings. SKLR North host Phil Mackey shared the story on the show. I was at the Xcel Energy Center for a Minnesota Wild game when someone saw my Vikings hat and asked if I was a fan of the team. After confirming, this person mentioned that he has a very close connection with Adam Thielen. According to him, Thielen has said he is trying to leave Carolina and return to the Vikings to finish his career. This information, although not yet confirmed by official sources, does not seem completely absurd. After all, Thielen has always had a strong connection to Minnesota, and his departure in 2023 was more a financial issue than a lack of talent or desire on the player's part to continue. If we consider the nostalgia factor, a return would make perfect sense. Adam Thielen isn't just a former Vikings player. He's a living legend of the franchise, having been a key part of the offense for years. But is there room for him in the current squad? What would the Vikings need to do to bring Thielen back? Thielen is currently in the final year of his contract with the Panthers, and while Carolina has no plans to release him, there's no indication that they would completely rule out a trade. If the Vikings really want the 34-year-old wide receiver back, cost wouldn't be an issue. His salary cap hit for a new team would be just $6.75 million, a very affordable amount for Minnesota, which has about $63 million in cap space for 2025. And the price of a trade? Considering Thielen had 48 receptions for 615 yards and 5 touchdowns last season, a day 3 draft pick in 2026 could be enough to get the deal done. The big question here is not just financial, but strategic. Do the Vikings really need Thielen? Is wide receiver a need for the Vikings? On paper, Minnesota doesn't have a pressing need at the wide receiver position. The team already has superstar Justin Jefferson and the talented Jordan Addison, as well as some promising youngsters on the roster. However, one important detail could change that scenario. Jordan Addison could face a suspension from the NFL at the start of the 2025 season due to his DUI arrest last year. If that happens, the team would start the year without its main option alongside Jefferson, making a reinforcement in the position necessary. And that's where Thielen could become a valuable asset. His experience, leadership, and familiarity with the Viking system would make him a reliable option to help the team maintain a strong offense until Addison returns. Furthermore, Thielen still has value on the field. Despite his age, he remains an excellent route runner and a reliable target in the red zone, something Minnesota can take advantage of, especially in third-down situations. The emotional factor. Thielen and the Vikings, an unfinished story? Another aspect that cannot be ignored is the emotional side of this possible reunion. Adam Thielen isn't just another former Vikings player. He's one of the most beloved athletes in the franchise's recent history. Born in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, he grew up a Vikings fan and was able to fulfill his childhood dream of playing for the team. His journey, which began as an undrafted free agent and turned into a brilliant NFL career, is one of the league's most inspiring stories. A return to the team would not only be a strategic move, but also a perfect story for the fans. Imagine the U.S. Bank Stadium erupting in applause as Thielen took the field once again wearing the purple and gold uniform. It would be an exciting moment for the fans, the organization, and of course the player himself. Conclusion: is the rumor well-founded, or is it just speculation? As of yet, there is no official confirmation that Thielen actually wants to return to Vikings. This rumor came from an unverified source and has not yet been followed up by NFL insiders. However, considering the financial, tactical, and emotional factors, this is not a completely absurd idea. If Thielen truly wants to leave the Panthers and Minnesota is willing to bring him back for an affordable price, this could be an interesting move for both parties. For now, everything is still speculation, but with the offseason still underway and the Vikings looking to build a strong roster for 2025, this is a story worth following closely in the coming months. Will we see Thielen back in Minnesota? Stay tuned for upcoming updates. Minnesota Vikings remain aggressive and sign another star to reinforce the defensive line. The Minnesota Vikings are sparing no effort to become one of the most competitive teams in the NFL in 2025. After an explosive first day of free agency, the franchise returned to the market this Tuesday and secured another big name to reinforce its defensive front. General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's strategy is clear: strengthen the trenches and build a dominant team at the line of scrimmage. With this goal in mind, the Vikings have already invested heavily, signing center Ryan Kelly and renewing with Byron Murphy Jr. in the secondary. But the moves didn't stop there. On Tuesday morning, Kwesi and his team closed deals with Jonathan Allen, DT, ex-Washington Commanders, and Will Fries, G, ex-Indianapolis Colts, both considered top 15 in free agency, according to The Athletic. And just when it seemed like the Vikings were done with their signing spree, they pulled off another masterstroke. Minnesota Vikings signed DT Javon Hargrave. The confirmation came from insider Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, who tweeted that the Vikings aren't done yet. Shortly after, he reported that the team was finalizing the signing of former San Francisco 49ers defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. The impact of this move is massive. With Hargrave's arrival, the Vikings become the team that spent the most in free agency so far, demonstrating that the franchise is 100% committed to competing at the highest level. But who is Javon Hargrave, and why is his addition such a difference for Minnesota? Hargrave, a monster on the defensive line. Hargrave, 32, is among the best interior defenders in the NFL and brings an elite presence to the Vikings' defensive line. His career in the league includes stints with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2016 to 2019, Philadelphia Eagles, 2020 to 2022, and San Francisco 49ers, 2023 to 2024. In recent years, he has cemented his status as one of the best pass rushers on the interior of the defensive line. Since 2021, Hargrave has posted a pass rush grade of 92.4, ranking fourth among all defensive tackles in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. In addition, he brings playoff and Super Bowl experience, something the Vikings will certainly value as they attempt to take the next step toward a title. Will the Vikings continue to sign? With the latest moves, Minnesota has already emerged as one of the most aggressive and successful teams in free agency. However, there is still room for more signings. The big question now is, does Kwesi Adofo-Mensah have more cards left up his sleeve? Small blue diamond wide receiver. With Jordan Addison potentially facing a suspension, the Vikings could be looking for another offensive reinforcement. Small blue diamond backup quarterback. It's still unclear who will be J.J. McCarthy's immediate backup. Small blue diamond secondary. While Byron Murphy Jr. has been re-signed, the Vikings could be looking for more depth at wide receiver. Regardless, one thing is for sure. The Minnesota Vikings are poised to compete for the bigs in 2025.